Hey everyone, welcome back to Homestead Corner. Today I have got 10 must-have items for long-term disaster. Last night I was thinking about, what kind of things we're going to need in a long-term disaster. If there was an economic collapse, a war, anything like that happens and we have a long-term disaster, we're going to want to make sure that we have the supplies for those types of events. They're possible. It can definitely happen. A lot of people think things can't happen here in the US. Things do happen, and more can happen, and it could get ugly. So I think it's really important for us to think about those kind of things that we're going to need in a long-term event. Any kind of disaster, SHTF, that long-term stuff. What are things that we're going to need on a daily, everyday kind of basis that we're really going to look forward to? So I just put together a list of 10 things, and this is not all inclusive. This is definitely just 10 things. But these things I think would be so important in a long-term situation. So the first thing is matches, lighters, anything like that, your fire starters, whatever it is that you like to keep on hand, having plenty of that is going to be important. Thinking long term, not just one box of matches, but a good long supply of matches. So I love to keep these little boxes because you get a little bit more in them than the big boxes. Those are usually only 300. These are 320. And if I want to share a box with a neighbor or one of my friends or a family member, if I want to share a few, I can give them away, and one little box is not going to be bad for me. Keeping a good supply is really important. And the second thing I think is really important is a decent supply of aluminum foil. We use aluminum foil. It is great for making like packets to cook meals on an open fire. Cook things in the smoker. It's great for lining pans. It's great for covering food. You could make a bowl out of it if you had to. You could make a small cup. I mean, there's lots of stuff that you can do with this. People make solar ovens out of boxes in aluminum foil. Aluminum foil is one of those things that it's still pretty inexpensive and easy to get into your preps, and I think it is really important. The next thing that is really inexpensive that I think we should have a lot of for a long-term situation is paper plates, paper cups, bowls, the little plastic silverware, things like that. You can dispose of them afterwards. If you are rationing your water, if you're limited without running water in your home and you have to lug all of the water in, you are going to want to conserve that water and be very careful with it. For washing and cooking, and you're not going to want to be washing tons of dishes. So I think these are wonderful. Even for quick emergencies, these are great. If the lights go down for just a day or two, paper plates are wonderful because, if you live in the country and there's no electricity, there's no water. So that's something that we know that is going to happen. We've experienced it before. So in a long-term situation, there's a good chance that you're going to lose your water, even in the city. So having backup stuff like this is wonderful, so you can conserve that water. And these can be burned or whatever after you use them, which is really nice. And you can just get the cheapest ones possible. The Dollar Tree has paper plates, and they are super cheap and perfect for quick, easy meals. The next thing that I think is really important is having a good supply of salt. In a long-term situation, you may have to cure meat, preserve foods, all of that type of stuff. And having a nice supply of salt is really important. This is just iodized salt, and I vacuum seal it in jars just to keep moisture out of it. Those little packages, like the cheap iodized salt you get at the store or in those cardboard box things, those are going to take on moisture and it's going to get into your salt. It's not going to destroy your salt, but it makes it all clumpy. And this, I just vacuum seal them up in jars or however I want to seal it. You can do it a ton of different ways. There's no one way to do it. But it's just going to help keep it dry and keep that moisture out of there. The fifth thing I think is really important to have on hand, and it's really not that expensive, is duct tape. I love duct tape. We have used it so many times to fix different things. And for a quick fix, duct tape is wonderful. And I'm partial to this Gorilla Tape. I mean, you can use any kind of duct tape, but this Gorilla Tape is a little bit more expensive, but this stuff just holds on and holds on and holds on. And I really love this stuff. I think it's worth the couple extra bucks to have it in your preps and have it available. So if you have to fix something real quick, this stuff really, you can fix a million different things with it. I love duct tape. And number 6 is trash bags. I love these contractor bags because they're thick and they're huge. So not only could you use them to put your trash in, you can also use them. You can make like a full length poncho. This thing's as big as I am. I mean, I can fit inside the whole bag, and they are huge. So you could make a temporary shelter. You can close off windows. You can close off rooms with it. If you just cut down 2 sides, you have got a big, huge piece of plastic. These are really big, and they're not crazy expensive. I mean, they're a little bit more than regular trash bags, but definitely these extra thick. I love these bags because you can cover up your generator outside if it's raining. You can cover wood if it's snowing. You don't want your wood to get wet. You can cover things, close off windows, close off rooms. There's just so much you can do with them. So I definitely love having these on hand for those emergencies. And in a long-term situation, you can even use this to collect water. You can do all sorts of stuff with these. They can be so handy. And there's just, if you look at your different preps, there are so many different uses for everything. Just thinking about what else could I do? So these are one of those things that you can just find so many uses for. And I really love having those big contractor bags. And number 7 on my list, seeds. Lots and lots of seeds. In a long-term situation, you will probably have to grow food. I mean, if you look at the food shortages going on right now, this can continue to get worse and worse. There is all kinds of stuff going on. Having seeds, I think everyone should have seeds. They are really inexpensive. You can get seeds at the Dollar Tree, Walmart, pretty much anywhere you go, especially this time of year. You can buy the big packages of kits a whole bunch of different places. Whatever it is, make sure you have plenty of seeds. So even if you have a huge stockpile, or you think it's a huge stockpile, in a long-term situation, that stockpile is going to run out, and you're going to need a way to grow food. Definitely. So seeds, seeds, seeds. Lots of them. And number 8, baking soda. Baking soda is another one of those multi-purpose things. You can rise your bread with it. You can clean your teeth with it. You can clean your oven. You can clean all sorts of stuff. Baking soda has tons and tons of purposes, and I think we should have tons of this in the house. And if you're going to store it for a longer term, definitely I would jar it up or bag it up or something just to keep the moisture out, because these boxes, the way they come from the store, it's going to get moisture in there and clump up, and it can definitely cause problems for your baking soda. So storing it properly is really important. I would get these closed up in some sort of airtight container. And number 9, can openers. We're going to need more than one. Things break all the time. A lot of people have an electric can opener. I do. I love it. It's easy. You just stick the can on it and it takes the cover off. Super simple. Having manual can openers is really important. When the grid goes down, if you don't have power, if you get priced out of power, which is what's happening to a lot of people cannot afford their electric bills right now. It just keeps rising. There's a possibility we could all be priced out of power, unless you're, loaded, then they don't notice. But there are can openers are super important. You've got to be able to open those cans of food. Having more than one, remember they break. These things wear down, teeth break, all kinds of stuff. We keep a variety of can openers from P38s to, you know, handheld big ones like this. These are nice comfort grip. But we have antique ones, all kinds of stuff. I like to have a lot of can openers. That way you've got a backup for your backup for your backup. And number 10 is those over-the-counter pain medicines, Advil, Aleve, Tylenol, aspirin, whatever it is that your family uses. I think having a huge supply of these is really important. Things happen, we get hurt, sore muscles, you know, bruises, all sorts of stuff. And in a long-term situation, you are more than likely going to be working a lot more in a lot more physical way than you currently do. So having these kinds of things on hand are definitely going to be helpful in a long-term situation. I think, you know, having all the over-the-counter medications that you and your family normally use, having a good supply of all of those is really important. And that is it for my 10 must-have items for long-term disasters. There are a lot more things that you definitely will need, but these are 10 that I think are really important. If you have others that you think are must-haves for long-term disasters that are fairly affordable, please put them in the comments down below. It really helps other people, and you know, we want to make sure that we're all prepared for what's to come. We never know what it's going to be, but we want to be ready for as much as we can. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.